Hi, Doug.
You just gave me a weird look there. Like,
I was giving you that solidarity. Here we are, episode 5 of Pod Duck Dong.
we're just coming back after Thanksgiving. We just took a week off, just just to recharge our batteries.
Yeah, I mean, what I really like is that we had recorded a holiday kind of like a podcast last week, and we kind of listened back and we're like, oh, I think we could, be more concise and be more thoughtful in the way that we kind of approached, what we were talking about. Not even more thoughtful, but I think just like kind of get to the meat of what we wanted to say. Yeah. So I think we're going to kind of like have some topics from that one that we didn't post, and then some new stuff. And so this is going to be kind of our, holiday podcast.
Holiday
2.0.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just jump right in.
Yeah. Okay, so some headlines this week. So Steve Aoki and BTS dropped their video for "Wasted on Me."
Yeah.
So it had like a pretty amazing number of Asian Americans. I
wonder what went into like that process of like, which Asians do we choose? Who's gonna be in it? It was kind of like, I didn't hear about it.
It was a smorgasbord. It was a smorgasbord. I mean, because you had like Jamie Chung from like The Real World and like Once Upon a Time, and
then you had Vincent Rodriguez from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I think you had Jimmy O Yang and Ken Jeong, obviously from Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
Ken Jeong was pretty much the
he was the protagonist.
Main guy.
Ross Butler.
Yeah, Ross Butler,
Devon
Aoki, obviously. Steve's sister.
Yeah.
It
was a nice little mix. I thought it was cute. I mean, like, I think what I like is like every single song that comes out doesn't have to be like a masterpiece. Like I love like a basic EDM, just like give me a jam that like when I've had 3 drinks and I'm just like doing some body rolls on the dance floor, like it's giving me exactly what I need,
I'm thinking now, like, are there music videos with just Asian Americans in them?
There's a video that just that Youngblood song. That Youngblood, do you want it? Do you want it? Da-da-da-da. It's like number 5 in America right now, but it's this white group, I believe. But they set everything in kind of like everything's set in Japan.
Oh, okay. I mean, like Asian Americans though, because I feel like the closest thing obviously is 88 Rising and all those videos. But I think like
a smash hit Billboard. I mean, like Far East Movement's videos.
Oh yeah. That's true.
Like a G6, Rocketeer.
Yeah.
But Rocketeer was Ryan Tedder, but Bruno Mars.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like to get that, like,
with like celebrities, whatever.
Yeah. I kind of like that because I loved that. It's just this kind of like fun, goofy, like lip sync moment. So I don't know. I'm happy with it.
Was it BTS's first English song? I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, and so that was kind of actually controversial because like a lot of BTS's kind of thing is they're just like there's no point in us singing in any language besides Korean. Like we're never going to really do that. Like we don't want to kind of like be that group that like puts out a mediocre English single. And here they do. I mean, not that the song is mediocre, but I'm just like, their music is not
like smash hit. That's
because there's definitely like a lost in translation moment. Like especially like, I mean, like if English isn't your first language, or like if I'm trying to sing in another language, like it's like there immediately becomes this kind of emotional disconnect. So it's right. I mean, like there's this kind of inevitable robotic quality that kind of comes along with it, and so I kind of think that like if they really kind of like lived in the lyrics, and if they like, that's why I love like Dua Lipa and Blackpink's song, because like that it really keeps the emotional honesty, because like Dua Lipa's singing in English and then Blackpink they sing in Korean, and like we don't need to have Dua Lipa singing Korean, like we don't need any of that. They just give us like a really good pop jam, and and what I love about it now is like audiences are like looking up the lyrics and like learning Korean and everything, and I think that's really cool. So I kind of wish BTS at least would
had like maybe like a little outro or intro or whatever.
Either like or something like the verses in Korean and then have the chorus, because it's just wasted on me. Have that be in English. That's fine, or just have the chorus, like have Americans learn "Wasted on Me" in Korean, so and then like have the verses be in English, like something to like kind of tether us to some kind of honesty, because I feel like it was just such a, not manufactured, but it's just like it loses kind of an honest quality when you have people that it's not their first language. But you know, I've still jammed to it. It has like 40 million hits by the time that we're kind of releasing this. So
yeah, and I think it is like kind of like, it is interesting that there are enough Asian American actors now to put on. I feel like even like maybe 10 years ago, you wouldn't be able to make a video like this.
Yeah.
Like you'd be like, oh, who's who's anyone?
And what I loved is like, there's so many people that like weren't in that video, you know, that it could, you know, like it can just like we can do a lot of these, you know, kind of thing. But speaking of people on screen, get ready, everyone. Like, buckle down, turn on Netflix, because Miss Vanessa Hudgens, Filipina queen, has her new movie out. I think she might be the first Asian American to like headline like a Netflix like holiday movie,
or
like
any holiday movie for that.
Any holiday movie, yeah. Like when has there been an Asian American the who is the like no qualms, no doubts about it, like Asian, like the lead of a holiday movie in America?
Well, Macaulay Culkin is now dating Brenda Song, so.
Okay, so Brenda honorary Brenda Song, Home Alone 2, Brenda Song, yeah. No, but I mean like, and I'm so gagged because like it's the Princess Switch. It's on Netflix. It is so enjoyable.
Really?
Like
I don't. Oh wait, hold on. What made you like kind of like be like, oh, let's turn this on? Like,
because my cousin Sunny was in town for Thanksgiving, and she just like loves to like, you know, like watch like every movie kind of thing, and so she was like, oh, like this movie came out, you know, like let's watch it, and it's like literally The Parent Trap meets, it's The Parent Trap but a Christmas movie.
Sure.
And like meets Princess Diaries, and like it's just so wild. Like every country that they go to is made up. Like they go to this country called Belgravia because Vanessa Hudgens is this aspiring baker who like she gets into this baking competition. So she flies to this imaginary country where there happens to be another Vanessa Hudgens, her long lost twin, who's a duchess or you know like from another like Monrovia or some random country.
So does this take place in like a fantasy world, or is it like a real world?
This is American history. This is real life. Okay. They just made up these two countries.
Okay, yeah.
And then so like this princess and Vanessa Hudgens switch, and like she like has this crazy accent, but she stays consistent with it through the whole movie, and it's a made-up country, so she can have this made-up accent, but it's like truly wild. Like they didn't have any budget. It was crazy. Like you can see her body double in some shots. It's incredible, but like everyone is having such a good time, and like she really like, I like, you fall for Vanessa. You were too, because
how old is she? Yeah,
I don't know. I think she's in her 20s.
Let me just look that up
like 20. I'm gonna say 27.
All right, that sounds right.
I'm gonna say 27. Let's see.
It says 29 actually.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I thought she was like way younger.
You're too old to have watched High School Musical, right?
Yeah, I think that was 2006. Yeah, I was like graduated from college then.
Well, I was in college, but you know what? I was living my life and still obsessed with.
All right.
Like
I did watch Glee.
Okay, well, not High School Musical. No, Glee was really adult. I mean, I was too old probably to watch High School Musical, but my best friend from like high school, like we loved like the Disney stuff, and so like the Camp Rock, and I mean like Vanessa Hudgens was like, you know, like she's like the lead in High School Musical. She was killing it. You know,
this was another person that I was like I didn't even realize till today. I thought she was Hispanic.
No. I mean, she's great, and she was like in Grease live. I think is she in Rent live? Is she gonna be? Is she? Oh, she's Maureen. I think she's playing Maureen in Rent live.
I see.
I mean, so like that's huge. Like, you know, like she's
she's playing Mimi, or she.
No, that was on Broadway.
Oh, okay.
She was on Broadway.
Oh, you're talking about like a movie version?
They're doing the live, like, because you know every year they do like a live.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so she's playing Maureen, which I'm a little nervous about, but you know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
When did you realize she was Filipino?
You know, just some weird, probably like BuzzFeed list of like people you didn't know were Filipino. You know, like.
Do you feel like that happens like all the time, like these lists of
Well, it's also because like you know the Philippines, it's like it's been colonized so much, so like there are so many there's Spanish blood, there's Chinese blood, in the Philippines, and so like when with who, what is her name, Vanessa Nick Lachey's wife, Vanessa Lachey.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's Filipino, but I didn't know, but she like was on this maybe like a Disney show, but like she played like a mother, and like they did a lot of episodes about like preserving Filipino culture, and it was like really amazing. I was like, okay, like she's really like towing the line here for like Asian American representation. And Vanessa Lachey, who knew?
There you go.
So watch Princess Switch on Netflix. Support Vanessa Hudgens. We need a Princess Switch 2. I don't know what it could possibly be about, but I need it next year. A year from now, if Vanessa Hudgens is not in Princess Switch 2, like I'm gonna wild out. I'm gonna be so mad.
He's gonna riot.
Yeah.
He's gonna riot.
Yeah.
So this happened a couple weeks ago, but Henry Golding was recently one of the Men of the Year on GQ. I think it was the first Asian man to be Man of the Year for GQ. So it was kind of like a watershed moment among many other watershed moments for Henry Golding and the rest of the cast. But yeah, I think I don't know. It is this thing where you're like, okay, things are happening.
It really is a watershed moment. Like the fact that like, because people can quibble all day on whatever he's hot, blah blah blah, but like he looks Asian in those pictures. Like you really like. There is no doubt that like he is like a mixed person, like and like he is like. I don't know. He looks right and he's towing the line, and like like it's cuffing season. It's getting cold. Henry, text me, Miss Henry.
Does he live?
He needs a Miss
Golding.
Does he live
in Malaysia usually, or does he live in LA now?
He's gonna live at my apartment.
All right.
Yeah. What are you doing for cuffing season though, Doug? What is your plan?
My plan for cuffing season.
If for people that don't know what cuffing season is, Doug, tell them.
Yeah. So I actually learned this recently from a friend of mine who said she failed to acquire someone for cuffing season, so she's going it alone. And I was like, "What's cuffing season?" And she was like, "Lol, how do you not know what that is?" And then I looked it up, and apparently, cuffing season, for all you noobs like me, is the winter months when it gets cold and you're kind of like, all right, I want to just be next to a warm body for the next couple months while we hibernate. So you kind of like, I don't know, it's similar to, I guess, summer camp where you're temporary like girlfriend boyfriend with or boyfriend girlfriend whatever.
Okay, come on, inclusion.
All right. With someone, because it's depressing to be alone. On Christmas. So my default was just being single every year, so I never really thought about it.
Well, I mean, it's definitely like a New York. I feel like because New York, it's legit cold. Like if you're a gay man and you're like in New York City and like it's like December, January, like you don't even want to like, you turn on your hookup apps and like you don't even want, you are hoping someone's less than 50 feet away. Like someone better be in the building, because it'll be like literally like less than 6 feet away and you're like, oh thank God you live downstairs. I'm coming down. Like because it's just like,
I'm trying to remember, like
you don't want to like bundle up and have to like wear a bunch of layers, then go to someone's place,
and then take off all
the layers, and
blah, blah,
and like you're wet and you're sweaty and like
it's just the whole thing.
Everyone's heat is either like way too hot or like their heat is broken in New York. Like
so it takes a while to settle into things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
so
I was so poor that my window didn't close in New York. So like my room would be like 40 degrees.
Shit.
Yeah. So like I had like a space heater going. Like, and then like all of our heaters were broken and they were like spewing water from them. And so like I would have to like replace these like jugs of water under my heater like every week. It was like, don't go. New York will kill you.
I guess for me, like, since I was not sexually active in New York, lol. I guess I never really thought about it, but now that you say that, like when I was thinking back to winters in New York, I could see how all those technical aspects could cause problems in like just like meeting someone or whatever. But yeah.
Wait, what were we didn't even write down. So the reason why because we wanted to talk about, like, what did we want to talk about?
We want to talk about Asian dating.
But okay.
Yeah.
So I guess so those are our headlines, but I think we want to talk about, like, this has kind of brought us into, like, Asian dating. It's the holidays. People are bringing people home for the holidays. Right. People are doing that life. People are, like, connecting. But I mean, like, what is it like? I guess we kind of just want to talk about, like, what is it like to be an Asian male, whether gay or straight, in the dating world.
Sure.
And, like, like, how much is perception, how much is reality? Because it really does tie to the media, because of the way Asian men are portrayed in the media, and, like, I think with this year was a watershed year where perception is changing, whether
right.
Even though it is from this, like, very hyper kind of, like, masculine thing, it's just like, at least there's another dimension now added, and so, like, we can then kind of grow
right, because, like, I think we're coming to terms with two different separate things at the same time. We're coming to terms with a lot of toxic masculinity, but we're also coming to terms with a lot of, like, how Asian men are portrayed, and it's kind of like, it seems like they're at ends with each other sometimes, or something, like, and that a lot of that overload of information can confuse people in that regard.
So what do you mean by that?
So I mean, like, if you talk about toxic masculinity in general, it's just kind of like examining the things of societal that put undue burdens on women and also, like, men as well, like, to be a certain I guess, quote unquote, standard of masculinity, rather than, like, trying to just being them, them, doing you, kind of thing. Like, and then, like, the Asian male aspect, I think, like, because of Crazy Rich Asians and all these other shows and all these other things in the media, like the GQ thing or whatever, now we're like, oh shit, like, they weren't I guess, in that paradigm of toxic masculinity, but yet we derided them for not being in that paradigm. But yet, how do we reconcile this now? And
right, it's that kind of, like, Asian men now are allowed to be, like, hot. It's like Asian men are all of a sudden hot in
right.
what year is it? 2018. In 2018, it's like there's this kind of watershed moment, but at the same time, it's this, like, there is this kind of, like the toxic masculine idea of, like, just like overcompensating with one's. I definitely know that, like, as my Asian experience was a lot of times growing up, like, overcompensating. I was overcompensating for being gay, but also overcompensating for being Asian. So I had to be, like, double, like, masculine. So I know that a lot. I feel like that was probably maybe your experience as well, like, growing up.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if, like, the racism was as explicit. I grew up in a fairly liberal, mostly Jewish area, so it wasn't like, I feel like the stories you tell me sometimes, I'm like, oh fuck, well, I didn't get, like, that much.
We'll
shit.
Get it together.
Yeah. But, like, I think, like, some of it came from my own parents. I think it just comes from, like, immigrant parents being, like, thinking, like, oh, you need to raise your kids to be tough, and they need to be a man, and they need to, like, they need to learn how to take care of a family or whatever. And these ideas of, like, oh, you need to do X, Y, and Z as a man, as a man of the household or whatever. And you can't cry, or you can't blah, 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 or, and I think that it's very tied to Korean culture. And so I kind of grew up with that. I wasn't a very, like, naturally, I guess, masculine person growing up, so I kind of had a little odds and ends against that. But then, like, I was sort of, like, I wouldn't say, like, I was, like, feminine either. It was just kind of somewhere in between, where I was just kind of, like, wrestling with, like, how do I present myself? How do I even, like, adapt?
So I think that there's two things that, like, are so at odds with, like, toxic masculinity, is that, like, it's okay to be sensitive,
right?
And, like, so many people get torn down for being it's just like, no, men are, like, supposed to have thick skin, it's supposed to, like, not give a fuck about anything, and it's also like intelligence gets gets kind of like so like it's just like it's like, oh, like, well, let's think about this. It's like, oh, well, thinking is like feminine because like like masculinity is just action,
right?
You know, so it's like if you're thinking about something, then like that can be, you know, like rated as like, oh, that's a feminine quality,
right,
you know,
right.
like, and then I think that's what happens when, you know, like a lot, like, you know, people that like kind of get poisoned by this like kind of idea, like this toxicity. It's just like, then you use your intelligence and your sensitivity like for like wrong things, you know. It's just like, okay, great, you think my intelligence is bad, I'm gonna use my intelligence as a weapon. I'm gonna use my, you know, like I'm not gonna be, I'm gonna be so sensitive that like anytime someone even tries to like, you know, like touch me or get close to me, then I'm gonna like assume that it's like that like they're trying to like get in so that they can like, you know, fuck with me kind of thing. And so it like kind of like ends up kind of like putting up this wall, and like, you know, like I think it is this, I feel like, kind of bringing it back to the media, it is this kind of interesting moment where we're seeing like Asian men for the first time be allowed to be human,
right?
Like fully three-dimensional, you know. Like I feel like all of Henry Golding's characters this year were so three-dimensional that like it's the kind of like this like, okay, now what do we do? Because like if we're not like, what is the next battle, and what is the next evolution as to like where we are like as like culturally and as a community? Because like, okay, we've hit this mark, so like we have to like, you know, we have to continue to push forward. But like it's always that interesting thing of like, who's gonna still like hold on to their anger and like still be in that place of like, well, like, you know, like, well, you know, fuck Henry Golding too, you know, like you know, like screw whatever's happening. But it's just like because like if we're not willing to accept progress, I think sometimes it's toxic.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I've noticed a lot of that too, where I have been on, you know, Reddit and Twitter in the past year, and I've kind of noticed there are people who are, you know, like mad about legitimate things or whatever, but it's like, okay, now what? Like I feel like sometimes I talk to them and I'm like, okay, well, all right, then where do you go from here? And it's just kind of like, I think a lot of them just spiral, and I'm not saying that I'm not, you know, immune to that kind of thing. I can spiral too, like in certain scenarios or whatever, but I think there is kind of like it becomes like kind of almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy once you internalize what people in society think about you, and then that becomes, you know, yeah.
It's like when you define yourself by the way that you feel marginalized versus like defining yourself by your real characteristics, then it's like once the marginalization starts to shrink, it's just like your identity feels like it's shrinking, when in reality it's just like, no, you were always a whole person, but like you were identifying yourself by the ways that you felt or really were oppressed. And so it's that kind of thing of like once that weight starts getting lifted, because inevitably like we are as a society like doing a good job, like doing our best and like lifting the tide, it's just then it's just like, okay, then now once the tide gets lifted enough, like your boat's gonna be able to float, but it's just like, oh fuck, if you didn't, you know.
I think it might be a thing, like I can understand this too, because I think I'm kind of like a perpetrator myself, where you almost enjoy the aspect of being marginalized. You're like, oh, I can point to this is why I'm failing. It's not me. It's this thing that's wrong with society.
That's so real.
And that way you can distance any kind of like self like accountability for any of the problems that you have.
I'm snapping for that. I did not know we were gonna go here today.
But I mean, like,
it's so real. It's so real. Yeah.
We can talk about, like, I mean, I think we were just gonna talk about our own personal experience in dating or whatever. I think I think while these things are helpful, I think like sometimes people don't really know like what it's like being an Asian guy. I think I was just talking to you yesterday when you were like, oh, how many people have you matched with on all the dating apps in the past 6 years? And I was like, I don't know, 40, 50.
And like literally like caught my breath because like it's also very hard for gay Asian men, but I think because the pools are smaller, like and of just gay people and gay Asian men and gay people of color in general, like you just inevitably like, because there's less people, you just get more hits. But like whether or not people talk to you or not is another thing. But like Oh my god, that like it like broke my heart. I was like, that's like it's just like it's crazy. But I mean, it's also like how do we present ourselves? How we perceive ourselves, and then how we put ourselves out there. Like it really like that's effective. Like it's just like if we were to like literally. Because I'm really interested. I feel like we should like do a project. Yeah, we should go into your app and like let's do it right now. Give me your phone. Give me your phone.
Hold on.
Give me your phone. No, we're doing this right now.
All right.
Click on your Tinder.
Tinder?
Yeah.
Is that the main one?
Yeah.
That we're going for?
Yeah.
All right.
What the fuck else is there? No, Tinder.
I don't know. I use the one where it goes like regular. All right. Here is.
Let's see this. Oh, okay. Douglas. Okay, first of all, we need to just do a Doug, not a Douglas. Writer at Justice. No. We need to fix this. Oh Lord. And you look way better than this picture. This is like this
Which
picture's
one?
fine, but like you look better than this in real life. The point of this is like we need to like capturing your essence on a dating thing. Like. Okay. Yeah.
Well, Tinder is more for like hooking up, right? That's what I heard.
Still though, but I mean, like you should be still hooking up with more people. Then, we could get your looks up here. Hold on. Oh,
wait, do gay people use Tinder even?
We use it for like legit. 9 matches. We need to.
I mean, I don't usually use Tinder though.
Now we're gonna do a.
My main is kind of like.
We're gonna do a thing. Here's the thing. Like. I want to do an experiment where we'll keep track of this. We're going to keep track of this, Project Dong. So because I'm going to make you a new Tinder profile and I'm going to make you like a new like Bumble profile. I'm going to make you like 3 new profiles.
All right.
And then we're going to then like, I'm going to make you be swiping every day and then like see what the difference is between this profile that you've had and like this old, because this is also an old version. Look, this hasn't been updated in like 2 years. It was like the same photos.
Yeah.
Like, you're a different person than this energy here.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And I think like it kind of goes back to like, like how do we see ourselves and
sure.
like, and like whatever. Cause I mean like I'm real shook. Cause I think like if your profile really reflected you, then I think you would get it. So we'll keep it posted. This is a to be continued moment because
there's a Queer Eye episode.
We're gonna do a Queer Eye. Yeah, we're gonna do a Queer Eye moment here. Yep, exactly. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know what we're kind of like. I think because there's of course all the stereotypes of being right. An Asian male that like are constructed by the media. That then affect the way that our dating lives go. And I think what a lot of people kind of like boil it down to, it's just like, oh, like Asian guys are sad because like, like because they have small dicks or whatever. And it's just like, I think like the main kind of like when a lot of like, people kind of like attack like Asian men, it's just like, well, like that's like your biggest problem, like, and it's just like, but like, I think like, that's just like the
right when they minimize that.
Right,
it almost feels like gaslighting, where it's just kind of like, well, that's what everyone thinks about, like being like relationship shit.
But I think it's what it is. It's honestly, it's a physical manifestation of the demasculization of Asian men, and it's also the physical manifestation of the like all the mental destruction that Asian men go through. It's just like, okay, so you're not fit to be a father. You're not fit to like defend my family. You're not fit to like be desirable. You're not fit to, like make me feel like I'm worth something because you by proxy aren't worth anything. So I mean, like,
we're not even like fit to be a member of society, for example.
Exactly. Yeah.
Spills over into all of that.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, that I feel like it's a reality. Like, it's just like when literally God did that interview where he's just like, I've never felt good looking.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was like, oh. it was that true like Hillary Swank The Office moment where like it's like
it's a common experience, I feel like, among Asian men. Like, yeah.
But like he is like, to me, like the most aesthetically pleasing, like just like literally like one of the most aesthetically pleasing like men, period, regardless of race. And the fact that he like is like literally one of the top 10 hottest people in the world, and he doesn't feel good looking because of the way society treats him and the way society tells him to think about himself is like, is crazy.
Yeah.
It's
you were referencing the Mindy Project thing, right?
Yeah. The Office when Kelly Kapoor, she's just like,
okay.
She's just like, Hilary Swank has to be hot because if Hilary Swank is not hot, that means I'm not hot because I'm not as hot as Hilary Swank. And it's just like, because they're trying to figure out if Hilary Swank is hot, and it's that kind of thing where it's just like, okay, if Godfrey God doesn't think he's hot, that means that none of us
we
are
all
hot.
fucked.
Yeah, we're all screwed. Like it's over. It's over for us. But I think it's just like the danger of that is like feeding into it, and then like if because if the perception of Asians change, if it's really media that's shaping this, and if media changes, then like where does that leave us as Asian men in dating?
Right.
Because here's the thing, I hooked up with a doctor from Thailand like 2-3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And it was wild.
Wild
because
in what sense?
He came over and we were hooked up, and he was just like, he had no insecurities about himself whatsoever. He was like, I was like, oh my God, like you don't like you have not lived the Asian American experience of like hating your body and hating yourself and hating like everything about yourself. And so he came in, he was just like, I don't know, I'm like this doctor from Thailand living my life, but like he had these like cultural things where it was just like, okay, like like I just like I like culturally, like I don't feel comfortable with kissing, and like that was his only qualm the whole time. I was like, okay, great. Well, we can do other things,
Yeah.
But it was crazy because it was like the way that he moved, the way that he like literally like just like I was just like, oh, like you don't hate yourself, and this is like a very like it was such a very like I like you almost couldn't see it unless like it was right in front of you.
So he's grew up in Thailand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, to be just like be allowed to be a human.
Yeah.
Like how wild that would have been. Yeah. But I think for me, I feel like I've been talking a lot because I don't know. But I think that like I've been really trying to work on myself and being like, okay, like being Asian, yes, maybe it is like this maybe it is a very real boundary in dating, but like how do I circumvent these things, and how do I like like really like love myself even though other people won't love me, and then like people will then see that I love myself, and like I think it's really been working because like I just decided to like redo my profiles and redo what I said in them and just be like, I love myself and I'm happy and I'm in a good place in my life, like professionally, emotionally, mentally, like I'm content. And it literally like a light switched, and like people are, it is only Asian, mostly Asians,
sure,
Latinx, and and like black men and like other like mixed people, but like still zero like 0 white people swipe on me, but like it is this kind of interesting, like I feel like somehow I'm putting energy through this app that like I feel good about myself, and like it is returning back to me.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Positive vibes only.
Yeah. Happy Ho-lidays, America.
But I think you want to talk about the holidays, right? About what it's like.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think, oh gosh. Now I feel like maybe we'll do a TBD, to be continued,
okay,
on your like, because I feel like I want to talk about like the straight male experience, but maybe we'll do a before and after podcast later of like, like we can talk about like what your dating life was, and then like we'll do like a month later, and see if things change. Maybe we can do that, because I feel like if we move on to holidays, I feel like I just have been talking a lot. So
yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, America. Sorry, America. That's also gay slang, by the way. Monique Hart from season 10 of Drag Race, she invented the term America. So she always would say, "Facts are facts, America." So
wait, hold on. She can't have been the first.
She invented.
Ever.
No one ever said America at the end of a phrase ever in history.
Really?
So, in history.
Wait, what year was that show?
This was 2018.
I'm
the
gonna
year
fact
of our
check
Lord.
this.
No,
2018,
the year of our Lord.
Wait, you're saying nobody said?
I'm being gay, and this is gay sass stuff. You're just like, hear the tone.
Sorry. I'm a literal person.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You should see the clips though. She's an icon. But yeah, I mean, so like, yeah, the holidays, and I mean, I feel like so what I loved about the holidays. So we just did Thanksgiving. I just did Thanksgiving with my cousins.
Right.
And it was kind of the first time like we didn't have Thanksgiving with like the parents because there's just like so much.
So you usually had Thanksgiving with.
Yeah, well, I usually don't go home for the holidays.
Right.
And so, but it was the first time where I had like cousins in my life, and like we just kind of decided to like have our own Thanksgiving,
Sure.
and it was like honestly the best Thanksgiving. And it was the first time I actually also went to Rage Giving, which is like it's like Game Boy, which is like a gay Asian night in WeHo every Friday night, and they do like a Rage like Thanksgiving where they literally legitimately like hire like professional catering, and there is someone who's like carving a turkey on the dance floor in a chef's coat, like under a heat lamp.
So are people like actually like raging, or are they usually like just
everyone is
chilling
raging, and everyone's like drinking a ton and dance. The Go-Go Boys are still dancing. Like it's.
I would have figured it's more of like a
crazy.
chill like lounge.
It is
night where
not a chill lounge. You went.
I went during a non-Thanksgiving,
but it was this. It's the same.
Yeah,
it's literally the same.
You said it was a quiet night actually when I.
It was quieter, but I mean it was still like on the dance floor. My sister had a platter of turkey on the dance floor, like dancing. Like giving $1 to a Go-Go Boy. Like it was, and because what they do it because like a lot of like Asians like they don't really have a good relationship when they come out. So it's just kind of like here let's have this communal moment. And so like
when did that start? When this whole thing started?
I don't know. I have no idea. I should have done some research on.
Was it your
Rage.
First one going?
That's my first one.
Okay.
Going to Rage the Rage Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But I mean like it was. It's just like I think the realization that like I think even in the Asian American community, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, because I think since you didn't do Thanksgiving with your family either this year. But
this is the first time for me.
Yeah. So but I think that it's like it's interesting, like, sometimes that family can be a little painful, or like, we can feel misunderstood. And so like it actually was the first time where I felt so free on a Thanksgiving, where I was just like, oh, I'm doing exactly the things I want. I'm like, like so thankful and grateful, and like really feel like I've created like a community, and like so like I don't know, I'm like super thankful for that. And it was a great Thanksgiving. And sometimes we know like so many, especially in the entertainment industry, Thanksgiving can be kind of rough if your parents or your family are not supportive, or they're like, why aren't you on TV yet? Like whatever. And it's like, I don't know. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know. What was your Thanksgiving like?
My Thanksgiving was okay. This is the first time, like I told you. I just didn't want to go back this year. I don't know why. Well, there was a lot of things going on. My sister was moving all of her stuff back, so I didn't want to like get in the way of that. And because usually when I go back, I usually use her place to kind of stay. But then now she's married, so I can't really go there while she's there, and so she's moving out. So this whole thing, I was just kind of like, I'm just gonna stay here. So I went with some friends to Carlsbad, to his old boss's place. It was all right. It was just kind of like pretty chill time. I think I just needed time away and to turn off my brain a little bit. I think the whole industry kind of turns off their brains during Thanksgiving until the new year. But yeah. Which is kind of like a cute little tip. Like the industry does shut down like week of Thanksgiving all the way until like first week of January. Yeah. And so like it is a good time if you're like, oh, like I'm not like super close to them, I'm just kind of like hanging out, like I have time off or whatever, like to like write a script during that time, because it's like no one in the industry, even if they read your script on like December 10th, like you're not going to even be able to like you're not really going to be able to go in for meetings. And if you are like, then you'll go like in January, and so they'll have forgotten about your script or like found something better, like whatever. And so like just like holiday time, like relax and chill, and like really recharge, because like January is when like the marathon year starts. So Yep.
yeah.
Okay, so finally for our Padukdong moment of the week, we heard about the recent thing with Dolce and Gabbana. They decided to make a ad that kind of like was disparaging towards Chinese people. It was like making fun of the fact that chopsticks can't pick up shit or whatever, which wasn't like even that crazy or terrible on its own, but it was kind of like I think it was Gabbana's Instagram account. He was talking to some, like, I guess, angry Chinese person or something, or some fan or whatever. And he was like, I don't care about those dirty, ignorant Chinese, whatever.
Dirty, ignorant Chinese mafia or something like that.
Yeah. So, like, basically calling them, like, rich but, like, uncultured people that, like this stuff isn't for them, like, because they're barbaric and uncivilized, like kind of like that tone. And then later on it was like, oh, I got hacked, but like nobody believed that. And then later on they made some sort of like apology video saying like, oh, which was weird because it like looked like they were like in a hostage situation.
The lighting was crazy.
I have no idea who their PR person is.
Who was that GP on that shoot? It was crazy.
That PR person needs to be fired immediately. But it just created this huge backlash, and like now I think it's probably funny because I feel like these sentiments were probably echoed earlier by, I guess, the highbrow European fashion industry, but it's kind of like in today's day and age you can't really get away with it anymore. It's just kind of like, well, China is 1/3 of all luxury goods in the world, so like if you piss them off, you're really fucking your bottom line. And they had to cancel their Shanghai fashion show, just because of all the backlash. And like there are stores now that are in China that are taking Dolce and Gabbana off their shelves.
Wow.
So they are really feeling it financially. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but
so like don't buy Dolce and Gabbana. Buy Gucci. Buy Gucci. Gucci is trendy. If you're rich, don't buy Dolce and Gabbana.
I think I bought one thing from them like many years ago. It was like a pair of sneakers.
From Dolce and Gabbana.
Yeah.
I mean, like I feel like this is a very specific gay moment for like every young gay person, but like Dolce and Gabbana's ads were always like the most like homoerotic things, and so like I would literally like put them as my background of my like computer. And I would just be like, oh no, it's just because like like the fashion's like so cool, like the fashion's just like so cool, so like that's why this is my background. And just like no, like there's just like 8 naked men and like one woman fully like posing in like a fierce dress. Like
so did Dolce and Gabbana position themselves as like the gay brand sort of?
I need to do. I think they're both gay. Are they both gay?
I'm not 100%.
They're both trash. I mean, like, yeah.
But I guess I like, cause like now I'm remembering that Bruno trailer where she was like D and J or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, maybe it is kind of like known as this.
Yeah. I mean, they do have like a lot of like, they're always like about like the crazy prints and the fuck, like the, it's like they're a little gaudy of a brand, but like, I don't know, like let's put them out of business. That would be fun. I wish maybe I shouldn't say that. Yeah, but I guess like lastly, it is a holiday episode, so I feel like we should say one thing that we're thankful for this year.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man, it's pretty rough. This year's been pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's not the way to start. Started off on the wrong foot there.
Okay. I guess like I am thankful for I think like a couple years ago, before I even met you or met a lot of people in this industry, I felt like, I mean, that was like where I was like desperate enough to even make this entire pilot TV show or whatever, because I felt like the cavalry isn't coming, nothing is happening, whatever. And so this year, with all the stuff that's been happening this year with Crazy Rich Asians and just Asian American entertainment just like coming together. I think there was I think we talked about those groups like Asians in entertainment or Koreans in media. Just I think there's been a collective like, oh shit, like Asians need to come together and start building their own things. Because I think like 5-6 years ago when I first moved here, there was this kind of like, oh, I'm gonna get mine and figure it out later, and that meant navigating through mostly white dominated space in that regard. But I think now that I'm seeing these avenues being built, I am more encouraged by that, and I'm thankful for our friendship. I feel like
all right,
I feel like I feel like before this, it was tough because I was like, oh, there's not really that many like-minded individuals in this space, or so I thought. I mean, like, I think now I know a lot more, but I think before and just meeting you and meeting other people, it's just kind of like, oh shit, there are people trying to make a difference and trying to improve like Asian American media.
I think everyone is trying to make a difference, especially now. Like I think because I was in New York and for 5 years, and it totally was also like that whole like dog eat dog. Like there's one Asian role, and like you just like dance for the white guy, like and if you dance the hardest, like you'll get that one scrap for the table. And so like. And I think now, because we all are kind of going through this awakening, it does feel like this community is really growing. It feels like a golden wave, hashtag golden wave. And so, I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, like, but what I liked is because, like, I think that, like, for me, it was like really important this year to like engage with people that I don't agree with, engage with people that have like adjacent or different areas of thought, because it's like if we're constantly fighting these kind of battles and like everyone is like on a different side, it's just like really like we all kind of probably believe like 80 to 90% the same, but it's like just that 10% that kind of divides us, and it's that 10% that like kind of destroys us. And so that's kind of why, because I was like, I have nothing in common with you, like, and like, but I was just like, oh, I see this person like trying like so hard this whole year, and like I really wish I would have had somebody to like just like kind of like pull me aside and just be like, okay, like you're working really hard here, like how do we like take like all this hard work and like let you, instead of just like digging a hole in the sand where the water's just gonna like put the sand back in the hole, like how do you like take the sand and like build bricks or like melt the sand down and like make glass. Because like that's what this industry is like. It's about like how do we teach each other to make a community that effectively can activate change, and
right,
I think,
and sustain itself as well.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for all those things too. So cool. Well, I think this podcast is way better than the last one that we did. I'm so glad.
Sure. Yeah.
Which you'll never hear, because it's when I'm like,
improved.
I'm like, I didn't like that. We have to throw it out. So, but no, I'm glad. Okay. Well, happy Thanksgiving. Well, that's already ended, but happy holidays.
Yeah.
To everybody. And maybe we'll do one more. We'll see. But also,
we'll do like a part 2, because we're talking about
part 2. Let's do part 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all under the same handle, PodDukDong. That's PODDUKDONG.
And if you want to get in touch with us, if you have any cool stories, you have suggestions of what we should talk about, hit us up via email at poddukdong@gmail.com. All right. Talk soon.
Thanks. Bye.